This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Chasing something real, and I've been stuck here, wasting.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, and yes. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, how are you on this lovely Friday, which is Friday, August the 14th of 2026. And we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and family. Yeah, our friends and family now, friends and colleagues over there.
Another great hour of Freeform Radio. Or is it? Radio Big.
Well, it's definitely another hour of something. I don't know if I can say that it's going to be the greatest thing on the planet, but it definitely will be something, that is for sure, as we are talking. So let's talk about it real quick. Our show normally consists of safety in the news and safety. That's kind of how we go about doing our thing. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, we are today doing Freeform Friday, which means that we get to play a little bit of everything that we didn't get to earlier in the week. So that makes it pretty interesting as we are going about. So if you're good with this, I'm good with this. We can get moving and grooving right away with some of the stuff that's going on, because that's just kind of what we do. But let me kind of do one of my favorite things that we get to do on Friday, because why would you not be excited about doing this on a Friday, which is something that we normally call the weekend review. Have you heard about this? So what we do is we'll play a little bit of everything that's happened so far this week, and we kind of play that. Now, if you want to interact with the show, it's simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the opciones of things that you get to do once you get over there. So that's kind of a simple processo in regards of doing it. So there you go. Listen to this real quick.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Ready for a good time?
Ready, Freddy. Buckle yourself in.
Please sit down.
I love listening to you.
Okay, so happy Friday. So let's get that rolling right away. So with this being said, why don't we go ahead and do this real quick? Why don't we go ahead and take a look at what the week had to offer, because that seems to be a thing. So let's do this.
Former Disney CEO Bob Iger and investor Josh Kushner, brother of President Trump's son-in-law Jared, are agreeing to buy the Los Angeles Lakers for a record reported $12.5 billion.
Luigi Mangione and his legal team negotiating a possible plea deal in the alleged killer's high-stakes federal murder case. Prosecutors and defense attorneys have scheduled a conference in federal court to discuss a potential plea agreement on Friday. Mangione is facing both federal and state charges, accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December 2024.
It was just hours before President Trump was scheduled to leave the NATO summit in Turkey that the decision was made to secretly sneak him onto a different plane, concealing him in a catering truck. The call was driven by intelligence that an Iranian terror cell had snuck into Turkey with a shoulder-fired missile, and that they had information about Trump's movements.
The Department of Homeland Security filing notice it plans to spend up to $20 million on specialized gloves agents can use to potentially incapacitate someone with an electric shock simply by touching them.
Someone is waking up as an instant billionaire this morning after winning the 8th largest Powerball jackpot in the history of the lottery. It took 44 drawings, but finally, someone matched the winning numbers. The ticket was sold at the Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh in Quincy, Illinois.
Disturbing reports of sailors on the USS Abraham Lincoln attempting to go overboard.
Growing concerns over conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln after a staggering 250 days at sea, including more than 200 consecutive days without a single port call. The majority of those days, combat operations in the Middle East.
President Trump swore in Todd Blanche as his new Attorney General. Trump's Attorney General, that's a fun job. It's like being the taste tester for Taylor Farms lettuce. You know, it's up there.
Okay, so there you go. That is the week in review. So there you go. What do you think? I think it's always a good time, that's for sure. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? I do have my friends from Feature Story News waiting in the wings, wanting to talk about what the hell is going on inside of the world in the multiverse. So why don't we go ahead and do that right now, and let's get ahead and get into the news. No, like seriously, let's get into the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. Crowds poured into the streets in Islamabad to mark Pakistan's 79th Independence Day, with flag-hoisting ceremonies and a 31-gun salute in the capital set for Friday. The celebrations come as Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has sharpened his rhetoric against India over the suspended Indus Waters Treaty, the World Bank brokered agreement governing the sharing of the Indus River system, warning that every drop of Pakistan's water is a red line. Hira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
During the independence speech, we saw Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif hitting out at India for unilaterally suspending the Indus Water Treaty. And experts who we have been speaking to in the capital are telling us that it's not just a statement, it's the Pakistani government is reiterating its stance on this crucial water treaty as 240 million people of Pakistan depend on this for their livelihood, agriculture, energy.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the American military can maintain its naval blockade on Iran indefinitely by rotating aircraft carriers in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. The carrier currently enforcing the blockade has been at sea for almost 9 months, prompting growing concern among lawmakers in Washington about crew welfare. James Goodison reports from Washington.
Indeed, one senator wants to lead an oversight visit to the Lincoln with both parties involved. Reuben Gallagher, a Democrat and indeed an Iraq war veteran, said on social media that the sailors are owed a sense of when they will go home. And it's not as simple, of course, as turning the aircraft carrier around and sailing all the way back to the United States. There's a huge amount of maintenance that needs to be done, and crew also need a break as well, as we've seen with other aircrafts. They often dock in European countries for that to happen.
The S&P 500 has hit a fresh all-time intraday high on Thursday. The Financial Times reports that investors expect artificial intelligence company Anthropic to go public at a valuation of $2 trillion or more. Mitch McCann reports from New York.
Anthropic has signalled an IPO was coming when it filed the necessary paperwork at the start of June, reportedly targeting September or October to launch on the Nasdaq. Now, this $2 trillion figure comes from Financial Times reporting after speaking to a range of investors. Anthropic's current valuation is around $1 trillion. Investors say that its rising revenue could double the company's valuation very soon. Investors, according to the report, also see annualized revenue reaching between $100 billion and $120 billion by the end of 2026.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking again today at some of the choke points that could, if weaponized, pose real threats to the future of the global economy. We're doing this in light of Iran's sudden realization that by closing the Strait of Hormuz, something the regime had never done before the US and Israeli war on the country began, it could upend the global economy. Edward Fishman, with time under his belt at the US Defense, State and Treasury Departments, with some thoughts today on what to watch out for.
I think still the most potent and important choke point in the global economy is the US dollar. It's involved in 90% of all foreign exchange transactions. It's effectively impossible to do global business as a multinational bank or company without access to the dollar. The other thing that makes the dollar such a valuable choke point is that the US can cut off other countries from it without the use of military force, just by sort of the stroke of a pen. I'd say the second most potent choke points, I'd kind of class a couple of them in here, are choke points that exist in the supply chains for advanced semiconductors. We're obviously right now in a fierce race for supremacy in artificial intelligence. So much of that race depends on access to cutting-edge chips. You need chip designs from companies like NVIDIA. You need chip manufacturing equipment from companies like ASML in the Netherlands. And you need the actual chip plants in Taiwan. And so I'd sort of group those as probably the second most potent.
And he spoke to Foreign Policy magazine. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Millions of people across Europe are experiencing a new wave of extreme temperatures in another heat wave this week. A passenger train derails in southern England, seriously injuring 2 people after 3 carriages overturned. US Central Command denies reports of conditions on board an aircraft carrier that's been at sea for almost 9 months, amid reports about poor living conditions. And that's the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Pop quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Yeah, the answer is always air guitar. There should never be a doubt about that whatsoever as we are talking. So let's get into it right away about some things going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Wednesday's winning $1 billion Powerball ticket was sold at a gas station in Quincy, Illinois. The owner of the gas station, John Marshall, talked to ABC News about his store selling the ticket and the gas station Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh. Take a listen to this.
Is earth changing. I'm happy to be a part of on their lives and changing their lives, and also to put Quincy, Illinois, Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh on the map too. So I mean, usually most of the jackpots are in bigger cities and on the coasts, and it's great to bring light to the Midwest, and it's just a great opportunity for everything right now.
Okay, so let's talk about that one because I'm pretty sure that he's going to get a cut of something there when it's all said and done. What do you think? I'm just saying. So, should we talk about this? Let's talk about this because this is kind of a big change that is going on here. Your favorite colorful candies are getting a natural makeover. Mars has officially launched a new version of M&M's, Skittles, and Starburst made without artificial dyes, or artificial food dyes, better saying. With your updated candies debuting on Amazon first, the company says that it spent more than a decade developing natural alternatives using ingredients like beet juice, turmeric, beta-carotene, and purple grapes to create the iconic colors. The biggest challenge wasn't the flavor; it was making sure that the colors stayed bright and consistent during large-scale production. Mars says the consumers' testing showed that people were willing to accept slight difference in the color, but changing the taste was a deal breaker. Blue has been the toughest color to replace because there simply aren't many natural blue foods. While creating consistency with purple for Skittles required engineering and fine-tune the candy-making process itself. The move comes as artificial food dyes face increasing scrutiny, and the FDA is pushing manufacturers to phase out petroleum-based synthetic dyes. Mars joins the growing list of major food companies removing artificial colors, and consumers demand the shift towards more natural ingredients. Take a listen to this.
Obviously, some people like the idea that you're changing the ingredients, but when they pick up an M&M, they want it to look and feel the same as it always has.
We've actually talked to over 13,000 consumers in the past year about this conversation exactly. And the good news is they're really open to the tone, hue changing slightly. What they're absolutely not open to is the taste changing.
Yeah, that's going to be the deal breaker of deal breakers. How do you still make it sugar loaded if the artificial colors are not there? And if we're trying to trade ingredients, what else is going on? Take a listen to this.
Two colors have been tougher to crack, brown and blue.
Blue is the challenge. There aren't very many blue vegetables. We're using something called spirulina. That spirulina is a tricky thing to handle at scale. But I want to reassure everybody they're not going away.
Okay, so there you go. Now you know. Now you know what I know, which is not much, but you know something. So there you go. So what do you think here? Is this going to be some deal breakers for some people that are M&M lovers? I'm just asking the question real quick because that's what's happening. So as we're already in the food distribution set portion of the show, let's go ahead and get into this. The FDA has upgraded the recall on more than 3.1 million dozen eggs, over 38 million eggs from the Midwest Poultry Services to a Class 1 recall, the highest warning level. That designation means that there is a reasonable probability of contaminated eggs that could cause serious health problems or death. The recall involves grade A white and brown eggs produced between June the 6th and July the 3rd, with sell-by dates of July the 20th through August the 17th. The eggs were distributed in retailers in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, including Kroger's and Brookshire stores. The eggs are linked to Salmonella outbreak that, as the CDC's latest updates, has sickened 98 people across 17 states and hospitalized 26. Health officials say that the number of illnesses is likely higher because of many cases go unreported. Consumers are urged not to eat the recalled eggs. Instead, throw them away and return them to the store. Thoroughly wash your hands in surfaces or containers that they were touched. So there you go. It sounds pretty serious to me. That's for sure. What do you think? I'm just saying. So today's Friday, as we were talking about already, the 14th of August. And today's a day. Today's an interesting day. And let me explain why. A surprise court hearing has fueled speculation that the accused killer, Luigi Mangione, may be close to a plea deal in his federal case, a move that could dramatically affect his separate New York State murder prosecution against him. According to reports, Mangione is expected to plead guilty to a federal charge of stalking resulting in death, although the negotiation can still fall apart. The timing is significant because New York has stricter double jeopardy protections than federal law. And the federal case is resolved first. Mangione's attorney could argue that the state murder case should be dismissed if both prosecutions are deemed to cover the same criminal conduct. That's why the state prosecutors had previously pushed to try to murder the case before the federal trial. The legal experts say that the key issue will be whether the federal stalking charge and New York's second-degree murder charge are considered legally distinct offenses. A previous federal ruling that stalking is not classified as a crime of violence could strengthen the state's argument that two cases involved different legal standards. Mangione has pleaded not guilty in both cases. He is accused of fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a Manhattan street in 2024. If no plea agreement is reached, the New York murder trial is scheduled to begin on September the 8th, followed by the federal trial on January the 5th. So going to be on the lookout for that. So I'm pretty sure that today is going to be one of these interesting days when it comes to this case. But I probably should say this as well. As you are aware, it has fallen apart before, so could it fall apart again? Who the hell knows? That's for sure. That's one of those things to think about.
Duh.
So let's do this real quick. Take a listen to this. The fight over the future of the Kennedy Center is intensified after the board, led by allies of President Trump, approved a series of major changes that could set up another legal showdown. During a virtual meeting, the board voted to add President Trump's name to the building to a facade, so it would read John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, restored and renovated by President Donald J. Trump. The board also approved renaming the plaza front where the center after Trump, and again voted to close most of the performing arts complex for 2 years to carry out the extensive renovation. Those decisions come despite the federal judge earlier ruling that ordering Trump's name to be removed from the building after finding that it had been added illegally. The judge also blocked the previous attempt to close the Kennedy Center for renovations, calling it the earlier decision ill-informed and seemingly preordained. Representative Joyce Beatty, the ex officio member of the board, blasted the latest vote, arguing that it is an attempt to sidestep the court's order and violates the law governing Kennedy Center. She voted to continue fighting for the charges in court. The board also approved a proposal to add a phase endowed by the Trump Kennedy Center Fund to the building. The Trump named an endowment reached $100 million. Board members praised President Trump as an exceptional fundraiser and directed the Kennedy Center leadership to pursue all legal avenues to implement the changes within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yep. That's how soon they would like to have that done. 2 weeks. So there you go. There you go. Okay, take a listen to this one real quick, because this one will get interesting for some. The Chicago Bears say that one thing won't change if they leave Illinois, and that's their name. As the franchise moves closer to relocating to Soldier Field, the team chairman George McCaskey made it clear that the team will remain the Chicago Bears even if its new stadium is in Hammond, Indiana. or Arlington Heights, Illinois. He dismissed many suggestions that the team would become the Indiana Bears or the Harmon Bears. McCaskey also acknowledged that the organization's primary focus is now on Hammond, Indiana, where the officials have offered $1 billion in incentives for a new stadium. The team CEO, Kevin Warren, said the discussion with Illinois have largely stalled, while Indiana has emerged as a leading option after the financial support and tax assurances. The Bears board approved the moving forward with the plan and Indiana Stadium earlier this year, and the team is currently evaluating potential sites in Hammond. The construction has begun. No construction, let me phrase that properly, has begun yet. The Bears have played in Illinois for a 107-year history, including decades at Soldier Field. Their current lease of the iconic stadium runs through 2033, but the franchise appears to be moving steadily towards a new home while insisting that its Chicago identity isn't going anywhere. It's going to be interesting. The Chicago Bears in Hammond, Indiana. That's that's not confusing at all. I mean, think about that real quick. You end up flying into the wrong place to try to get there. That's going to be one of those weird things. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this one, because I think we should probably talk about it, because why would we not talk about it? The Trump administration has announced new tariffs on imported drones and drone components, saying that the United States has become too dependent on foreign-made unmanned aircraft systems for products that the national security implications. Under the new policy, certain drones and components considered especially sensitive, including large drones weighing more than 25 kilograms, drones with thermal imaging capabilities and docking stations, and other critical parts will face 100% tariffs. Smaller drones that don't include those sensitive features will generally be subject to a 25% tariff. However, drones and components made from European Union, Japan, South Korea, Switzerland, and Taiwan will face 15% tariffs, while the products from the United Kingdom are subject to a 10% tariff, provided most of their hardware, software, and technology originate in those countries or the United States. According to the White House, the tariffs are designed to strengthen the domestic drone manufacturing and reduce reliance on foreign suppliers for technologies considered important to national security, and most new tariffs will take 21 days after the announcement for the effect to go into place, while the tariffs are less sensitive drone components and certain exempted defense-related products will be delayed 180 days. Holy monkeys, man. A lot of stuff going on right there as you start thinking about it. Are you a drone user? I'm just asking because I'm not. I have one. Somebody gave me one. It was gifted to me, but it wasn't like really my cup of tea type of thing. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I just don't see it as something I'm going to be messing around with, but that's me. So there you go. What else do we have going on right here? Because there's a lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse. No doubt about that. So there you go. I'm looking here. And are you a big sports fan? Because maybe that would be the question to talk about. So take a listen to this real quick.
I love football.
And I love football as much as anybody.
I love football.
Football fan, are you?
Football is the most popular sport in America.
Football is a way of life.
Okay, so football, let's talk about it because, that's going to be the thing. Preseason NFL football officially is underway below. We will talk about some of the stuff that is going on. So here's the weekend games. Denver Broncos today versus the Atlanta Falcons at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Next three games will be that. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New York Jets at the same time. And Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Commanders. Tomorrow, Carolina Panthers versus Buffalo Bills at 1 p.m. Cleveland Browns versus Chicago Bears, 1 p.m. Minnesota Vikings versus New York Giants, 1 p.m. Los Angeles Rams versus the Kansas City Chiefs, 4 p.m. Jacksonville Jaguars versus New Orleans Saints, 4 p.m. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Baltimore Ravens, 7 p.m. And the Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks, 8 p.m. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world out there. No doubt about that. So there you go. A lot of stuff happening. Are you a football watcher? Because if you are, you're definitely going to have a weekend for the preseason. And do you watch preseason games? Maybe that's the other question to ask. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this. Darius Williams, a teacher at Waverly High School in Houston, has gone viral after posting a video in which he breaks down while describing what he says is a shocking lack of basic reading and writing skills among some of his senior students. Fighting back tears, the teacher said that he had students who couldn't complete a simple assignment requiring them to fill out 4 words or write 2 short paragraphs. He said that it could express themselves verbally and defend their opinion in conversation, but struggling to translate those thoughts into a written form. He also voiced concerns about the future of his students, particularly young black and brown men, and women, saying that the situation left them heartbroken. The video has sparked the heated debate online. Many people sympathize with the teacher and argue the education system has failed students by allowing them to advance through school without mastering basic literacy skills. Others question how students could have reached the senior year with such significant academic gaps. Some critics, however, argue that the teacher should focus on helping his students rather than posting emotional videos online, while others question whether the claims are accurately reflected the broader trend. Take a listen to this.
I literally broke down in the middle of class. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, and they couldn't fill in 4 words. This is only day 2. And I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. They cannot write. They can reason. They have the ability to defend their reasoning if it's talking to their homeboy, but applying that to a written text, 2 paragraphs, and they couldn't do it. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls. Oh, God.
Okay, so there you go. That is what he posted. I didn't show the video, but you heard the audio aspect. So think about this for a moment. Some people are upset that he decided to do this and not just solely focus on what's going on.
Duh.
But I'm going to bring this up just for the sake of doing so. You are aware now that the people in Waverly High School in Houston are now familiar with what the hell is going on. Was it the right approach? I don't know. Was it the wrong approach? I don't know. But he definitely got the information out there. And that's the thing that happens from time to time. People are not aware of what's going on. So maybe this call for help, to an extent, is one of these things that other people will be able to focus on and go, hey, this makes sense. Maybe this is something we should discuss a little bit more on how we can make these school systems a little bit better. And listen, I will tell you, teachers sound like they have one of the most difficult jobs possible out there. Could you imagine having anywhere between 18 to 20 some odd kids in your classroom, also requesting that somebody else help you with school supplies? Also, you're trying to teach multiple kids at once. Imagine just hanging out with 2 or 3 kids and trying to manage that. Now, times 18 or 20 in regards to the amount of children there, in regards of what's going on. It will make you definitely think about stuff. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, it is Freeform Friday. Under normal circumstances, we would be going into our main story. But hey, it's Freeform Friday, so we do a lot of news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. Crowds poured into the streets in Islamabad to mark Pakistan's 79th Independence Day, with flag-hoisting ceremonies and a 31-gun salute in the capital set for Friday. The celebrations come as Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has sharpened his rhetoric against India over the suspended Indus Waters Treaty, the World Bank brokered agreement governing the sharing of the Indus River system, warning that every drop of Pakistan's water is a red line. Hira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
During the independence speech, we saw Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif hitting out at India for unilaterally suspending the Indus Water Treaty. And experts who we have been speaking to in the capital are telling us that it's not just a statement, it's the Pakistani government is reiterating its stance on this crucial water treaty, as 240 million people of Pakistan depend on this for their livelihood, agriculture, energy.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the American military can maintain its naval blockade on Iran indefinitely by rotating aircraft carriers in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. The carrier currently enforcing the blockade has been at sea for almost 9 months, prompting growing concern among lawmakers in Washington about crew welfare. James Goodison reports from Washington.
Indeed, one senator wants to lead an oversight visit to the Lincoln with both parties involved. Ruben Gallagher, a Democrat and indeed an Iraq war veteran, said on social media that the sailors are owed a sense of when they will go home. And it's not as simple, of course, as turning the aircraft carrier around and sailing all the way back to the United States. There's a huge amount of maintenance that needs to be done, and crew also need a break as well, as we've seen with other aircrafts. They often dock in European countries for that to happen.
The S&P 500 has hit a fresh all-time intraday high on Thursday. The Financial Times reports that investors expect artificial intelligence company Anthropic to go public at a valuation of $2 trillion or more. Mitch McCann reports from New York.
Anthropic has signalled an IPO was coming when it filed the necessary paperwork at the start of June, reportedly targeting September or October to launch on the Nasdaq. Now, this $2 trillion figure comes from Financial Times reporting after speaking to a range of investors. Anthropic's current valuation is around $1 trillion. Investors say that its rising revenue could double the company's valuation very soon. Investors, according to the report, also see annualized revenue reaching between $100 billion and $120 billion by the end of 2026.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking again today at some of the choke points that could, if weaponized, pose real threats to the future of the global economy. We're doing this in light of Iran's sudden realization that by closing the Strait of Hormuz, something the regime had never done before the US and Israeli war on the country began, it could upend the global economy. Edward Fishman, with time under his belt at the US Defense, State and Treasury Departments, with some thoughts today on what to watch out for.
I think still the most potent and important choke point in the global economy is the US dollar. It's involved in 90% of all foreign exchange transactions. It's effectively impossible to do global business as a multinational bank or company without access to the dollar. The other thing that makes the dollar such a valuable choke point is that the US can cut off other countries from it without the use of military force, just by sort of the stroke of a pen. I'd say the second most potent choke points, I'd kind of class a couple of them in here, are choke points that exist in the supply chains for advanced semiconductors. We're obviously right now in a fierce race for supremacy in artificial intelligence. So much of that race depends on access to cutting edge chips. You need chip designs from companies like NVIDIA. You need chip manufacturing equipment from companies like ASML in the Netherlands. And you need the actual chip plants in Taiwan. And so I'd sort of group those as probably the second most potent.
And he spoke to Foreign Policy magazine. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Millions of people across Europe are experiencing a new wave of extreme temperatures in another heat wave this week. A passenger train derails in southern England, seriously injuring 2 people after 3 carriages overturned. US Central Command denies reports of conditions on board an aircraft carrier that's been at sea for almost 9 months, amid reports about poor living conditions. And that's the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, PhD. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, PhD. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking the truth.
Some of the best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit.
Radio
Big.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
I've been running, chasing something real. And I've been stuck here, wasting
Okay, here we go.
time for you.
44 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. So how are things? Is life fantastic in your neck of the woods? I sure as hell hope so. This right here you're taking a listen to, this is Neighbor with the song I Want to Go Home. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Yep, go ahead and give it a little streamer-eamer action. We'd like to thank Neighbors for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show.
But nothing to show for it.
A lot of stuff going on, for sure.
So much is waiting, it's yours for the taking. I've been trying.
So there you go.
There's nowhere to go. I got nothing to show for it. Peace and the patience and grace.
A lot of good times happening here. So there you go. Let's go ahead and continue talking about some other things going on inside of the multiverse, because that's just kind of what we do around here, no doubt about that. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. I'm going to tell you, you go there, you go to that website, there's so many things that are going on there that you're kind of going to be one of those things where you go, wow, this makes a lot of sense to do, and you kind of just go from there. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick, because there's some new movies coming out today, now that it's Level Friday. The Brink of War, starring Jeff Daniels, Jared Harris, and J.K. Simmons. President Reagan faces a races to save the nuclear deal from the Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev as the pressure mounts all around him. Every word spoken could move the world closer to peace or destruction. That one's rated PG, hitting theaters today. The End of Oak Street, starring Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. The Platt family bands together to navigate a new surrounding after a cosmic event transports their suburban neighborhood into somewhere unknown, rated PG-13, hitting theaters today as well. Nimrods, starring McCain Grace and Keen Ruffalo. The buddies drive across the country in a van, causing mayhem and mischief while racing to LA for their big break, opening for Green Day for a New Year's Eve event. That one's rated R, hitting theaters as well today. Also, Paw Patrol, the Dino movie. Let's see. The Paw Patrol lands in the mysterious dinosaur island after a storm where they meet Rex, a stranded pup, where Humdinger, reckless mining, triggers a volcano. The team faces their biggest rescue mission yet to save the island. And then last but not least, The Wrong Girls, starring Kristen Stewart and Kate Blanchett. Two aimless young women inadvertently gain telepathic abilities after ingesting an experimental drug, pitting them against dangerous rivals pursuing the same powerful substance. There you go. That one's rated R. It hits the theaters as well today. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of movie land is what it sounds like. With that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's bring some John Small into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Colton. Andy Warhol said, "They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself." Awesome quote. Andy's right. You have to do the actual work. You can think about it, and you can even mean to do it, but until you actually do it, there is no change. Time will actually help, though. If you went home today and you changed like 75% of who you are and just showed up at work tomorrow looking different and acting differently, people would be confused and most likely they would wonder what happened to you. But if you did that same thing over the course of a year or a decade, people wouldn't notice as much, and those who did would just call that growing up. We all go through some changes as we learn new things. We might even change the way we think and act a little.
The motivation needed.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A magnitude 7.4 earthquake devastated western Colombia on Monday, killing more than 250 people across multiple cities.
The quake struck the Pacific region near San Jose del Palmar, Colombia's strongest seismic event this century, collapsing hundreds of buildings. Rescue teams and residents formed human chains, digging through rubble as emergency crews raced to find survivors. Kyle Norris, reporting.
President Trump reportedly snuck from Air Force One onto a smaller military aircraft while departing a NATO summit earlier this week.
The unexpected switch came amid an alleged security threat from Iran, prompting the unusual transfer to maintain presidential security. Officials confirmed the president safely departed the location using the alternate military transport. Liam White reporting.
Millions of people gathered across Spain Wednesday evening to witness a total solar eclipse, the country's first in more than 100 years.
The moon slipped directly between the sun and earth, casting darkness across northern Spanish cities as crowds erupted in cheers and applause. The celestial event lasted just under 2 minutes at its peak. Chris Anderson reporting.
A dangerous heat wave continues to grip much of the United States, with heat index values expected to soar past 100 degrees.
Extreme heat warnings remain in effect across the Midwest, South, and Northeast as temperatures climb and humidity intensifies. The prolonged heat poses life-threatening conditions for millions, with cities activating emergency cooling centers and heat advisories through the weekend. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Primary elections unfolded across 6 states Tuesday, with voters selecting candidates for governor and U.S. Senate races this November.
In Minnesota, Progressive Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan defeated a centrist opponent to win the Democratic nomination for Senate. Flanagan, who could become the first Native American woman elected to the Senate, will face Republican Michelle Tafoya in the fall. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Turkey's parliament approved legislation Monday that would offer conditional pardons to thousands of Kurdish militants as part of a peace initiative.
The measure passed with 468 votes, requiring the militant group to fully disarm before any pardons take effect. The move marks a significant step toward resolving Turkey's long-standing conflict. Gary Beck reporting.
A powerful typhoon slammed eastern China on Sunday, forcing more than 1 million residents to evacuate from their homes.
Typhoon Dolphin brought wind gusts exceeding 90 miles per hour and torrential rain across the densely populated Zhejiang province. Nearly 1,400 flights were canceled in Shanghai alone as rescue teams braced for widespread flooding and landslides. Lawrence Keller reporting.
In South Carolina, Senator Darlene Graham advanced to a runoff Tuesday in the Republican primary race for Senate, setting up an August 25th showdown.
Graham, the sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, who died last month, earned President Trump's endorsement as she competed against Representative Ralph Norman and 8 other candidates. The winner will face Democrat Annie Andrews in November's general election. Benjamin Wright reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On radio.
No, they like something, all right, so let's figure that out as we move forward. Currently 53 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and get into some other things that are going on. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, because that always seems to be a thing to do. Back in 1935, the Social Security Act became law. In 1965, Continental Football League plays the first game. In 1973, Johnny Unitas files a $725,000 suit against the Bolt Colts. In 1982, Pete Rose, Phillies 12,365 at-bats record passes Aaron. IBM releases MS-DOS version 3.0 in 1984. Denver votes for a 1% sales tax to pay for baseball franchise. So there you go. Are you sure it wasn't a tax increase? Also, comedian Jackie Mason marries his manager, Jill Russender. And that was 1991. And that's going to sum it up in regards of what things that happened back on this date. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays going on today. Steve Martin turns 81. Susan St. James turns 80. Danielle Steele, the author, turns 79. Magic Johnson turns 68. Marsha Gray Hayden turns 67. Susan Olsen, 65. Halle Berry, 60. Catherine Bell turns 58. And Mila Kunis, yeah, she turns 43 today. So there you go. That's some celebrity birthdays that are going on today. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know because, hey, seems like a thing we should do. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is for $90 million. So there you go. Tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is for $20 million. A Powerball ticket sold at a gas station in Western Illinois was the sole winner for the $1 billion jackpot, ending a 3-month drought without a top prize victor. The ticket that won the jackpot on Wednesday night was purchased at Hy-Vee Station in Quincy, about 100 miles west of the state capital of Springfield along the Missouri border. So there you go. Also, the NASCAR Cookout 400 airs tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the USA Network, if you seem to care about that. Also, in some other news, a section of the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. has been vandalized yesterday after someone covered part of the site with red and green graffiti and filled the memorial fountain with large amounts of soapy bubbles. The graffiti included phrases like clean hands, diary, money. While the paint was splashed across the section, the memorial granite stonework. The Department of the Interior condemned the vandalism, calling it an utter disgrace, saying the U.S. Park Police and investigators are investigating what's going on. Officials vowed to identify the persons responsible and said that the act would not be tolerated. Authorities have not announced any arrests, and the investigation remains ongoing. Also, in some other news, a magnitude 3.8 earthquake shook San Francisco Bay Area yesterday morning, with the epicenter located near the Oakland Zoo in Oakland. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake struck about 8:30 a.m. local time and was followed by two aftershocks, measuring 3.0 and 2.8. The longest aftershock occurred after 9 a.m. The shaking was felt across the Bay Area, but officials reported no significant damage or injury. So there you go. In some other news, Tropical Storm Layla is straightening as it heads towards Hawaii, prompting officials to issue a hurricane watch in Hawaii County, the Big Island, and to urge residents to complete storm preparation. Forecasters say that the storm is expected to reach hurricane strength as it approaches the islands this weekend. As of yesterday, Layla was several hundred miles southeast of the Big Island and sustained winds of 45 miles per hour and moving northwest. The National Hurricane Center forecast that it could become a Category 1 hurricane before passing near the Big Island early tomorrow. The biggest threat is expected to be heavy rainfall with widespread totals of 8 to 12 inches and isolated areas receiving 25 inches on the Big Island. Forecasters say that the rain could trigger life-threatening flash flooding, mudslides, and washed-out roads and dangerous rivers. So there you go. So that's it. That's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, you're more than welcome on doing that. If you don't want to go over there, you can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus, as he will be talking about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom, believe that you can, and you're halfway there. And if you need some advice for today, clean light bulbs regularly. They can be up to 40% more efficient when they're dust-free. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for your time on this lovely Freeform Friday. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.